We made it to Friday. We did indeed. Man, there are a lot of new people here. Well, we talked at great length about the Steam Deck, and I'm very excited about it, but today's a little bit more about the balance or understanding why maybe there was that initial excitement, but as a dad, as someone who struggles greatly with time management, with trying to make things work, why video games have become such an important part of my almost daily activity, and how my wife even appreciates that I have the hobby itself to relax, reset, and in some ways completely rejuvenate my mind. See, over the past few years, having kids, for those of you who have them, you would understand, become extremely demanding of your mental state. And in some ways, completely destroy your mental state. And so when it comes to having something to look forward to, a little reset, a little thing that's your own, it's so important. Today, I am to the moon about this coffee. This is from my absolute favorite coffee shop, Rapport Coffee and Roasters. They're great. I'm working with them to bring a coffee to you guys, but that's a different conversation for a different time. This is a Columbia, an anaerobic natural. It's wild. And my favorite coffee is not this one, but this is my wife's favorite. I'm just excited that I get to make this coffee for you guys today and enjoy it. It's going to be a doozy because anaerobics are usually really, really extreme. And this one is no exception. Holy smokes. This smells like a chocolate-covered cranberry thing. I don't even know. This is so insane. This bag right here, if I may, is how many ounces? 10 ounces. 284 grams of coffee. 10 ounces. And it costs $30. That's what we're dealing with when it comes to the intensity and the quality of something like this. I will spend it 10 times over because these guys deserve every dollar, but it's crazy. So, hobbies, right? Hobbies are important. Video games, for me, are so unbelievably important, and over the past 2 years, I've spent a lot of time trying to regain my sanity because having kids can be brutal. And for me, it always was about playing the games. I got caught up at great length on how to be a part of the conversation because I do make videos online, but over these past few months, since November 1st of 2023, I've decided to forego that. I've decided to just focus on playing games and talking about the art of playing games, the art of video games. Holy cow, this is so vibrant. The smell is really intense. That's really intense. But I've just focused on that, and my life has changed. I mean, we can obviously see that there's a huge interest in just playing games in our community alone, because look, our community has grown exponentially over these past just couple of weeks. Just this week alone, it's been a huge jump. I know that a lot of it has been around the Steam Deck, and I see it. There's comments in there being like, why is this guy talking about this so much? It's the excitement. And I think that it just speaks to what is happening in my life as a dad. It speaks to what happens in life as a dad. And you feel, in some ways, I know that I have, so I'm going to speak from firsthand experience here. I feel like there are elements of my life that I had to give up. Just about everything about my life I had to give up as a dad. I had to give up a lot of my time. I had to give up a lot of my other external passions. I had to give up some stuff like working out whenever I wanted and just, it's only during nap times or whatever it may be. And I know that that changes as time goes on because you're not always going to be a dad of toddlers and of infants and stuff like that. But still, it is a demanding thing and a life shift that happens and lasts for a while. I mean, it doesn't last forever, and people are like, this too will pass or this time will change. Yeah, sure. But it doesn't change what is happening in this moment. And even though in the grand scheme of things, you're lucky to have your kid in your house for 18 plus years, maybe 20, maybe 25 years, however long they decide to stay with you. And the 2-3 years of the beginning is only, a blip on the scale, maybe a tenth of that. If, a tenth would be 30, but still, it's a blip. that blip still exists. It's still 365 days a year. It's still, or 366 this year. And it still requires a tremendous amount of attention and time, as well as sacrifice. And so when it comes to video games and how it applied to my life in this current season, I found it even more important to really fight to hold on to this because, excuse me, I have a little bit of runny nose. Over these past few years, especially this past year, it has been exceeding more. This year alone with the second kid, it was exceedingly more difficult to get through my days. I'm the stay-at-home parent. I take care of the kids throughout the week. Then the weekend, my wife, of course, is home, and she will do that. She mainlines it, and I get some time off. But to balance that and to spend so much time changing diapers, chasing around kids, trying to fill the day, there's something so beautiful about looking forward to that moment where you turn on or grab the system and just get into the game itself. Or in the back of the mind, thinking about some of the story beats that you experienced the night prior or the morning prior or the morning of, and it just drives some of your daily excitement. So that was 312 at 20 grams of coffee. This smells crazy. This smells insane. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, this is important. What are we going to be drinking out of today? Let fate decide. A little RNG. We got Blue Cup 4 right here. Let's just pour it off so that it can get nice and cool. And we're going to drink. First sip's going to be wild. This smells incredible. What are we looking for the tasting? Okay, lychee, blueberry, and honey. I'm curious if I'm going to get that because some of the smells in here are just to the moon crazy. Last night, I stayed up late for the second night in a row playing, you guessed it, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The joy that I experienced in that moment was just great. Looking forward to playing that game and just having this hobby to enjoy is so refreshing. Hobbies are important in general. I think that dads or any parents or anyone should have a hobby because it gives you something to continuously work on. And there's a lot of stigma, I believe, around video games, especially as an adult, that you're wasting your life away. I have seen, and I also had conversations with people in the community who have been dealing with the idea of balancing video games, not balancing it because they have an unhealthy addiction or an unhealthy amount of time that they spend on it. Balancing as in, is this something that I should have in my life? Is this something that is normal? Is a mid-30-year-old playing video games something that is normal? I would say that I personally think that it's absurdly normal. It's something I do, but I think that it's a great hobby to have. Because if you think of plenty of other hobbies out there, they all pretty much fall into the same category. It's an activity that is intentionally done to refresh, reset, and rejuvenate the mind. Great. I don't think that there's any hobby that exists that needs to, be better than the other. A hobby is simply there to help you reset, refresh, rejuvenate. It's as simple as that. You can go anything from building a car to origami. It really doesn't matter. And some would say, well, some are translatable. You can woodwork and then make that into a business. Well, I would argue that if you have a hobby that you intentionally are trying to turn into a business, that's a very different type of thing. I know that I personally did that, and I can tell you that it 100% ruined my passion for video games. Okay, first sip. This smells insane. It smells almost... This is going to sound weird, but it almost smells like green olives with pimentos, which you would think doesn't taste good, but it doesn't taste like that. That is bright. Holy cow, that is crazy. That's all over the place. Holy smokes. Whew. That is taking me for a ride. Good Lord Almighty. Well, I can honestly tell you that this coffee is almost too bright for me. Still gonna finish it. My wife is gonna love this. All that to say, I think that there's a lot to be said about this hobby. And over the past, I keep saying the past couple of years because there's been so much introspective thinking, and especially given the space now where a lot of this is just talking about things. If it wasn't for the looking forward to and the excitement that exists with video games, I don't know how I would continue to be in a good headspace. I know there are other ways to reset the mind. Sure, I think that's great. Different ways to balance your mental state, whether it's prayer or stuff like that. But you see, I already engage in those things. I already read my Bible. I pray on a regular basis. I have my quiet time. I'm always trying to keep myself centered when it comes to my spiritual life. Those things do exist. That doesn't take away from the external things that affect my day-to-day, right? My stressors that exist with trying to create content, my stressors with my family when it comes to balancing children and proper relationships, my stressors with the California lifestyle and realizing that there's just no one out here that is really there's no one out here that wants to be friends. I said it. It's tough. It's tough for a dad who stays at home to make friends. That's why the internet is such a great place. You would think that the internet's more dangerous, but it's not. Video games have saved me because I have been able to find a community that exists here. Sure, I had to kind of foster it at first, but now it's extremely alive, and I no longer have to be a charge or a driving force. It does it on its own. I get to be a part of that machine and a part of that animal and a part of this place, and it's so wonderful. And I attribute all of that to the very hobby itself, video games, because again, it doesn't really matter what you do when it comes to a hobby. It just matters that you are continuously doing it, that you look forward to that moment. And so when I got my hands on something like the Steam Deck, or when I play games on my PlayStation 5, like Final Fantasy 16 or 7 Rebirth, the only couple that have really been wildly entertaining and very engaging for me, I get excited, right? And so this place where we talk, and I hang out with you while I drink my cup of coffee, like I found a light, I found a moment, I found a thing that I can hold on to that pulls me through some of the junk that exists in the stressors. And so that's kind of why, like, on a odd scale, like, I talked so much about the Steam Deck, and I probably will. And once PC gets here and I start to build that out, that'll be a lot of the topics too. Is not because I'm trying to milk it, although it does get views, and that's important in this space, but that's another thing. It's more because I want to share about it. You know, like it's such a powerful thing. Just like, you know, I'm someone who I'm a man of faith, and I'm very, very attached to that. It's the same reason why I talk with people about Jesus. The same thing. Very excited about it. It's very important to me. It's changed my life, transformed me, and I want to share that with other people, right? It's not this like, you need to. It's more of this, can you believe it? This is crazy. This is awesome, right? And so when it comes to this hobby, I'm like, holy smokes, this is great. And especially because one is so demonized and so looked down on, I'm like, wait a second. Why is it demonized? Why is it looked down on? I sit and I play these games, and it's just so powerful to me. So recently as in last night, I decided, this is so intense, that I wanted to play through Final Fantasy VII Original. And so that excites me. I can't wait to play the story, the original one that came out in the 90s, right? It just gets me going. It gets me excited. And, you know, today, I didn't come into this being like, let's talk about, you know, something that's going to hit the algorithm. I came into this encouraged by all of you dads who have joined this, and who have been like, man, I feel like you're just meeting me where I'm at. Honestly, dads, I feel like you're meeting me where I'm at. The comments that have been coming in over these past few days have been so encouraging to know that there are other dads out there just trying to find a few minutes out of their day to try to play video games. Because I know personally it's been such a huge thing for me, such a healing thing for me, especially in some of the darkest places that I've gone with this past, you know, year of me being a dual kid dad, that I'm so encouraged that I'm not the only one out there, you know? It gets tough when you're just in your library by yourself all the time. I spend all my time with kids, and it's just something that you lose sight of the reality of things. And some would say that playing video games is an escape, and it's a way to cope, and you're not really a part of reality. But I'd say that the reality that exists is that there's a lot of, you know, loneliness that exists in the video game space. It's very true, right? I know that I was very lonely growing up. It was detaching me from the social interaction, but I'm flipping it now because there's a lot of loneliness in parenting. And when you do that, you just want so bad for someone to relate to. And in video games, it has done that. The very thing that gets accused of creating isolation and loneliness has healed me, has completely taken charge and created a space in which I don't experience that. And I can't not talk about that. That's huge. Discord is a huge part of it. All you guys in there are great conversations. I love it. But it's so unbelievably transformative. It has completely changed the way that I get through my day. I have people to talk to about video games. I have people to share this hobby with. And that is not, I just want to make it clear, that is not unique to the gaming crew, right? And there's plenty of toxic behavior that exists in this space. I'd say that it's a little bit less toxic in this specific dad story-based narrative space. Not a lot of us are sitting there grinding our Call of Duty Prestige class. Not a lot of us are out there trying to get the best Rainbow Six, Siege, whatever. We're not doing that. We're sitting here playing games like Mario Wonder, Final Fantasy VII, Plague's Tale, whatever. We're playing these story-based games. Mario Wonder's not really a story-based game. It's actually more just a platformer. This is so crazy. I'm not going to be able to finish this. It's too bright for me. Too bright. I'm going to be honest. It's a very good cup of coffee, but this coffee is going to primarily be made for my wife because it is so wild. It is insane. This is just too much. It's too much. It's just too much. Okay? Papa found a coffee that's too much for him. So this is going to be for my wife. I'm going to make her another cup and get after it. Dads, I just hope this comes as an encouraging video. I wanted to step outside of the game space for a second and just talk to you dads about dude, we're just going to get through it, huh? Right? We're just going to get through it. And because there's been such a shift and such a huge change and a big, the past week has been crazy. Released a couple Steam Deck videos and we've gone up. We hit 50K. There's an extra, 600 or 700 of you. Most of you dads, we're here. We're going to keep moving forward. This is the place where dads who play video games hang out, as well as anyone in between. We got moms in here making comments. We got people saying, I'm not a dad, but I resonate with the message. Hey, that's what the space is here for. We're just getting through this hobby together as full-blown adults having fun, huh? Sound good? Cool. Enjoy the rest of your day today. It's the end of the week. For some of you, for others of you, it's never the end of the week because you're a parent. If you're a parent, your week never ends. And so, good luck. And always, as always, happy gaming.